going on, Jeromes? So the Minnesota Vikings announced yesterday that Kwesi Adofo-Mensah had been extended to a multi-year deal. Scuttlebutt is that it's a 4-year extension, synced up with Kevin O'Connell, and Kwesi, after some fits and starts, has been on a freaking tear. Generational run, putting together one of the best roosters in the National Football League on paper, on purpose. You got superstars all over the place. You have a potential future franchise quarterback in J. McCarthy, and Kwesi just been getting after things. Now, I know that the haters and the losers be like, way back 2022, which is fair. It's fair. Again, Kwesi's first draft, Donishell, maybe some input there with Scene, Booth, Asamoah, etc., but it sort of is what it is, right? And I understand the notions like, well, the lack of depth in the 2022-2023 draft class is one of the reasons why the Vikings have had to go so hard in the paint in free agency. I, again, fully understand that. Ideally, not sustainable, but the Vikings, it doesn't change the fact that the Vikings, again, have one of the most racked up and stacked up roosters in the National Football League, which is something that I love and adore. So here are top 10 moves that Kwesi has done as general manager of the Vikings. Now, there's actually a lot of them and a few honorable mentions that we didn't even put in there, but the extension of TJ Hawkinson and other various deals, signing, bringing back Byron Murphy Jr., just there's too many good. Like, I understand negativity sells and it's better to focus on the bad. Oh, look, doesn't matter. First up, number 10, moving on from Denil. So Denil Hunter is going to be one of my favorite Vikings of all time, and it's tough to move on because you have this talisman on the edge, a guy who's adapted very well to the new 3-4, but it was just time. And the Vikings were able to basically get Jonathan Grenard for a 1-for-1 swap, as well as Andrew Van Ginkel for about the same price as Denil got in Houston with the Texans. And it's always tough moving on from a franchise cornerstone because generally you're seen as the bad guy as the general manager. But it was the right time. And the thing I like about Kwesi is that with every player that there's a price, and the price threshold won't be crossed, right? But there is always a market rate price as opposed to just a cutthroat, well, we offered you, type of deal, except for in the Kirk Cousins case, which is kind of funny. Next up, number 9, signing of UDFA Ivan Pace Jr. So coming out of Cincinnati, undersized linebacker, but came in, essentially won the starting job as a rookie with Brian Flores and company, and Pace has just been on a tear. He's heading into year 3. He's the team's energizer battery, and he was a great find, right? And I think that Kwesi's been very good in terms of bringing in the UDFAs because I think that they do approach things from a different perspective. And it's not full-on Moneyball analytics, what does he do? He gets on base. But just getting good football players that may have been undrafted for whatever reason, I get smart. And Pace has been on a tear, man. Number 8, drafting Donovan Jackson. Ooh, it's for real. Now, you could say, sure, Donovan Jackson basically just fell into his lap because Booker went 12 to the Cowboys, Zabel went 18 to the Seahawks, but he still had to draft him. All right, the Vikings could have gone in a myriad of different directions, but Jackson is the final infinity stone on what could be one of the best offensive lines in the game, which is extremely important for a team that wants to run the ball as well as for a team with a first-time starting quarterback that you got to protect. Next up, number 7. So going back, cutting Thielen and drafting Jordan Addison. Now, we're always of the mantra that you should move on from a player a year too early versus a year too late, right? You don't want to be holding the bag, usually a large contract, usually a large dead cap hit when a player is just not there. But moving on from Thielen, and it's very clear that Thielen still had someone left in the tank. He's putting up some numbers in Carolina, just got his second contract there. But the Vikings, they drafted Jordan Addison 23, and again, you could say, well, it just fell into his lap because Jackson Smith and Jigba and Zay Flowers and Quentin Johnston were off the board, so it was like, who are they going to take? Still had to draft him, right? Because it's such a disingenuous argument where people want to throw bricks at Kwesi and be like, oh, Addison just fell into his lap. Oh, Donovan Jackson just fell into his lap. Still had to take him. Bruh. But basically the changing of the guard at the wide receiver 2 spot. But like we said, cutting a fan favorite like Thielen, moving on from Denil, you're going to get a lot of vitriol from the fans. But Kwesi was able to hold strong, and it was the right move. Next up, number 6, trading Ed Ingram for Jordan Mason. So this is my favorite one. Like, this one should be higher, but basically Ed Ingram was one of the worst guards in the National Football League. Now, it's a drawback because, yes, Kwesi did draft Ed Ingram in the second round in 2022. It is what it is. But the fact that he got a 6th-round pick from the Texans for it, and you turn around and then trade a 6th-round pick to San Francisco for Jordan Mason, that's really good. So that's always gonna be one of my favorite ones. You turn one of the worst guards in the league into a young, promising running back who fits in perfectly with your scheme. I love it, man. Still one of my favorites. Next up, number 5, signing Will Fries and Ryan Kelly. So the twofer coming in from Indianapolis, just really solidifying the interior offensive line. And also it was smart, too. So they knew that Fries and Kelly had a very close relationship for the couple of years they were in Indianapolis. Signing Ryan Kelly first, and then moving on from Garrett Bradbury, which should be its own number. But then having that anchor in Kelly, pun intended, and able to land Fries, who had multiple suitors. And yeah, it was a massive contract. Yes, it's the most years of any free agent this cycle, but just getting Kelly in the door first really helps smooth the skids to get Will Fries. I think that's a really good move by Kwesi. Next up, number 4, extending Jefferson and Darrisaw. So Jefferson became the highest paid non-quarterback in NFL history a couple years ago. Darrisaw, highest paid left tackle. Now, both of these extensions for franchise cornerstones, they went down with zero Goose and D'Angelo Russell drama. Like no earaches, no social media sniping, and none of that, all right? And no leaks to the press or the media. But Jefferson got it done. Darrisaw got it done. And 2 tentpoles as a franchise. And basically, you have to give a lot of credit to Kwesi. You have to give a lot of credit to the respective agents because there was respect. Yeah, it was a tough negotiation, but there was respect. Everything was above board. At the end of the day, both sides knew that they were better together, right? Made sense. Next up, number 3, moving on from Kirk Cousins. So this is controversial at the time because the late, great Chris Wessling dubbed this the Dalton scale, right? Because you have a quarterback where he's just good enough to keep you on the hook. Where is he going to be great? Probably not, but you're worried that you can't do better. Can't find a better man. Actually, that song is really depressing. You know what I mean? Yeah. Anyways, but the Vikings with Kirk Cousins, even after the Achilles, it's just like, are we stuck? Right? And reportedly, allegedly, Kevin O'Connell wanted to keep Kirk Cousins. Kwesi basically was like, no. And it's the opposite of the other negotiations where Kwesi drew a line in the sand, like, hey, this is how much we're offering. If you can get better, go ahead. And, the safe play probably would have been to pay Kirk Cousins and, give him the Falcons contract. But Kwesi just like, no, we're moving on. And that's moving on from shore. That is pushing your boat away from the dock, and there's no return. Like we're checking out the new world, right? Next up, number 2, the 2024 free agent class. So every single one of these guys basically could have been their own talking point, but this isn't talked about enough, right? So the Vikings got a fistful of key contributors last year in the margins of the roster, whether it's Hottie Ward, whether it's Trent Sherfield, Jonathan Buller back again. Reisner started. Jerry Tiller was good against the run. Shaq Griffin was good in spots when he was allowed to play. Stephon Gilmore, but the 6 that stand out to me. So Aaron Jones coming over from the greasy grimy Green Bay Packers off a cut contract, so it didn't impact comp picks. And he sets a career high for rushing yards as a true blue running back 1. Cashman outside, how about that? Back in the great state of Minnesota, probably one of the more underrated off-ball linebackers in the game. And then Grenard and Van Ginkel. The 2 starting Pro Bowl outside linebackers, AVG second team All Pro. You got both of them, and they combined for 24.5 sacks and also at $29 million per year. I mean, that was less than what Denil Hunter was getting paid by the Texans, and also taking care of AVG, freshening up that contract. I mean, Grenard, if he has another amazing season, probably could be a candidate for that as well. And then you got Slinging Sammy Darnold, aka America's quarterback, 1-year, $10 million deal. He turns into a Pro Bowl. So again, this isn't heard of. Like, you, in one free agent class, you get multiple high-end starters and 3 Pro Bowlers. That just doesn't happen. All right, so big props to the 2024 class. Again, most of those guys could have been their own talking point, but yeah. Lastly, number 1, the drafting of J.J. McCarthy and Diamond Dallas Turner. Now, this is a little bit of betting on the come, sure, but the maneuvers that Kwesi made in the 2024 draft, again, completely unheard of, trading into the middle or the back end of the first round before the draft. All right, so the Kwesi did that with getting the Texas pick. Now, teams trade up at the top of the draft, before the draft all the time, but at the back end, when you don't know what the board is going to be, but it gave the Vikings flexibility because it gave them 2 first-round picks, 11 and 24, so they could have moved into the stratosphere to draft the future franchise guy if the opportunity presented itself. It didn't, but the Vikings moved from 11 to 10, taking McCarthy, future franchise guy, as well as getting Diamond Dallas Turner. And I know, blah, 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 Jared verse, blah, 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 but hey, there's a reason why rookie contracts are 4 or 5 years as opposed to just 1 year. So you're telling me that the 21-year-old true junior coming in, learning a new position and being asked to do things that he wasn't asked to do at Alabama, and also he's playing behind 2 Pro Bowl outside linebackers as well as a PJ2 having a career year. Oh, he only did that? He's fine. He's perfectly fine. So, like we said, this is a bit betting on the come. But if J.J. McCarthy turns into the franchise quarterback and Diamond Dallas Turner turns into the true blue talisman on the edge, like this could go down as one of the most productive drafts in team history and one of the best drafts in league history. So, again, if things pan out, it'll be good to go. But overall, like we said, 2022 draft notwithstanding, who cares, right? But the Vikings have assembled one of the better rosters in the National Football League. Also, youth at key spots: quarterback, wide receiver 1, left tackle. This defense, I can't wait to see this defense, man. It's great, and you gotta give a lot of credit to Kwesi. Well-deserved extension, and we go from there. But your thoughts are thoughts. Top 10 moves of the Kwesi Adofo-Mensah regime here with the Minnesota Vikings. Let us know your thoughts, our thoughts, comment section. You guys are the best thing to do. Skol, production value.